Well, I was interested in ministry from a very young age. I remember we had different pastors stop by our church to preach, and this was a small church that my dad had planted, and we would have a separate place for the pastors to sit. And as a little boy, I would watch them sit, get up, and preach. And I wanted to be a pastor, but that desire came about as just being interested in people, just seeing people's life being transformed by just the basic ways of communicating Bible truth, which I picked up from my dad, a great storyteller and a teacher, and just transferring that into how to get people to understand the scriptures was a big motivation for me. My ultimate desire for everyone I come in contact with is for them to experience the kind of love and forgiveness and redemption that I have experienced. Like Paul, I am the chief of sinners too, and I was once blind and now I can see, lost and now I am found. And so my desire for members of my congregation and the people that I get in touch with every day is to create that atmosphere for them to also experience the same grace and mercy that I have experienced from God over the years, and I continue to experience. With my ordination, it is humbling, it is overwhelming too, to finally get to this point. I have witnessed friends being ordained, and I think what it means to me personally is it gives me an extra tool to be more effective in what I do. The mission remains the same, the passion behind it even stronger now, and I pray that I'm able to do more through the help of the Holy Spirit to get more people to come see the God who has made me to be who I am today, and the God who continues to work with me through the person of Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit to get to where He wants me to be, and in the process bringing others along. And so I really thank God and I welcome this opportunity.
My name is Pastor Nathaniel Drew, and I'm the pastor of the Temple of Praise SDA Church in Cleveland, Ohio. And a little bit about how I came into ministry. It really came in the senior year of high school. My high school experience, went to a public school. We were studying psychology, and our teacher wanted to show us how he could tell certain things about us just by the way we drew pictures. And so I volunteered just because I liked volunteering, went up to the board, and based on how I drew some random objects, he proceeded to tell me certain things about my life without me having to say it. So one of the things he mentioned, I remember he said that you come from a single parent household. That was true, but I still wasn't fully bought in yet. Then he said, you are the oldest out of your siblings, and changed it and said the second oldest. And technically he was right in both answers, because I'm the oldest out of my biological siblings, and I have an adopted older brother, so I'm the second oldest technically. And so he was right there too. And the last thing he said was what he could see us going on to major in college and then pursuing as a profession. So now I was really intrigued, and he said based on how I drew the pictures that he could see me going to major in theology and then pursue ministry as a pastor. Now, coming from an atheist English teacher at a public high school, did not know anything about my religious background. That caught me way off guard. And then he said, if you don't do pastoring, you'll settle and do business. And unbeknownst to him, I had already applied to DeVry University to their business management program. I wanted to own my own business, and he had no idea about any of this. And I had been praying sometime for the Lord to show me what He wanted me to do in life. And when that happened, I took that as a sign from God. I applied to Oakwood. I said, Lord, you have to open up every door. I don't know, I don't have any connections. My dad is not a pastor, so you're going to have to open every door. And He opened them, and one thing led to another, and now I'm here in Allegheny West Conference, and I'm grateful every day of my life. Being ordained is very important to me, and it's an honor, I feel, because I think it validates what God has been doing through me up until this point. And in terms of of ministry going forward, my deepest passion is to help heal broken families. I just believe that if the family is healed, then the church can be healed and the world can be healed and made a better place.
I was raised in an Adventist family. My father was a pastor of the church, and in my early years I have the opportunity to travel in Peru with my father in different districts, and in most of those places I have the opportunity to help him by accompanying him, and I think that is where began my passion to serve the Lord in the churches. When I was a child, I remember to accompany my father to his churches. He has a motorcycle, and I would like to ride in the motorcycle to go with him to visit families and churches. Even when I get tired, when the service was over, I was falling asleep sometimes when I was a child, I remember. But most of the things that happened in my life was related to the church, because I studied in Adventist school and I went to the university in Adventist University. But I think the situation that touched my heart happened when I was studying theology in the second year. I have a situation that put me down because I was sick for almost 2 years with asthma disease, and my teachers, they didn't understand what was going through. But in the summer I do a visit to my grandmother with my mother, and that is the turning point in my life, because one experience changed my life. It was that my grandmother and her sister, they was not well in relationship. But God used my mother to bring both sisters together. And then I learned the lesson that God is calling me to reconcile people with Him. Being ordained as a pastor means a lot for me and for my family. But what I want to do for the rest of my life is serve God. Wherever position He put me, wherever He send me, I would like to be to serve the Lord.
Hi, my name is Regina Johnson, and I am from Huntsville, Alabama. That's not your average story for anyone, because I'm actually from there, like born there. I went to Oakwood from kindergarten to 12th grade, and so of course the next step was to go to Oakwood University. But I felt like the Lord was telling me not to go there, and He was sending me to Washington Adventist University, which was at the time Columbia Union College. And of course I committed the unpardonable sin by not going to Oakwood. And I really didn't know what the Lord was doing. I really didn't know why, but I went. I got there and I hated it. My first year was horrible, and I didn't really want to come back home, because then I would have to hear, well, we told you so. And I didn't want to stay there because I didn't like it. And a friend of mine said that they were going to Argentina for a year to study abroad. And I thought it would be cool to travel, and I thought it would be cool to take some time to figure out what I was doing. And I ended up in Argentina for a whole year. While I was in Argentina, that year literally was God growing me. I feel like everything I had learned growing up as a child that you hear in church and Sabbath school from your parents, it all became real, because it was there that I realized that God was literally going to be the only person who could always be there for me no matter what, and was going to always have my back. And through a series of events, I promised God while I was there that I was going to listen to whatever He told me to do. I was going to go step by step. He didn't give me a full layout plan, but I just promised, I know that you want me to do something in ministry, and I'm going to listen, and I'm going to take your lead, and I'm going to follow. I went back to Washington Adventist University, And I just got super involved in ministry throughout the rest of my college career. And upon graduation, I was invited to become the chaplain. So I was a chaplain at WAU for 3 years. And in my third year, we had a revival. Well, we had a revival every year. In the third year, I invited Pastor Myron Edmonds to come and to speak. And he came, he was the speaker, and we saw the Holy Spirit just work in crazy ways. We were able to baptize so many people simply because the Holy Spirit fell. There's no other answer to how that happened. And as a result of that connection, I was able to come to Allegheny West to pastor at Grace Community. And that was literally just another step in my life where I was telling God yes. I literally have just been saying yes to what I told God I would do. I told him I would listen to the Holy Spirit, and so each time he asked me to do something, I say yes, and this has been the result, and that's how I ended up here right now. I didn't expect to be in ministry in this capacity, but I do know that I'm here because of the fact that I was obedient to God and that I chose to be sensitive to His Holy Spirit. I don't know what God has for me next. I don't know what my future holds. But I do know that the safest place to be in the whole wide world is to be in the will of God.